Okay, so this is why the left is to blame for everything that happens, basically. So on the right side here, you have, well, put him in the center. So here's a dude. And he is riding the horse of progress, we'll call it. And I cannot draw at all, but this is a horse. It looks more like a cow. And this guy is saying basically everything is fine, everything's good right now. We're doing great. We have everything we need, and why would we change anything, or why would we even think? Basically, we're fine. Now, the curve of progress is an exponential one, at least right now. So it goes like that. And let's say we're somewhere around here right now, riding the wave. And what always gets us into this direction is the left side. So the right is always basically satisfied where they are. And that's it. That's the end of the story. They might do things, they usually don't change things, but they might sort of expand their realms, but it always happens on basically horseback. And then if we, let's say, the progressive side pushes and creates, let's see if we can do this, creates an automobile that this guy is riding in. And now things are, let's say, better or worse, but we are basically heading towards the future, and the future is in that direction basically, and this is progress. So we're heading towards the future, and now the next generation of conservatives, in the past they were like, automobiles, what are those? They look dangerous and they make a lot of noise. We don't need them. But now they are a staple in the I would call it the American right-wing diet, which is cars rule, and we want better cars, faster cars. We want more of what we have, and this is fine. And why are we moving anywhere? Because this is fine. We're doing good now. But they forget that the first thing that made this sort of the staple of the diet was the progressive side, who was ready to invent and use their imagination and use creativity and use their broad perspective. So the left-wing perspective is very wide. They take into consideration things that they might not even have to or should possibly, but they do. And the right-wing perspective is very narrow, so they see this. And when things start going outside of the thing that they see and they understand, it starts to get scary, so they start to block it. So using the same analogy basically of this guy going into the future on a horse now. Before it was walking, now it's on a horse. Then it was like a chariot. Well, chariots came first, and then it was on a horse, and then it was a car, and then we started getting airplanes, and now they're normal trains and stuff, and it always happens. The job for this guy basically, from I guess the earliest period of human existence, has always been, let's not go crazy now. Let's stay here, and he has the harness to the horse. And when the horse tries something crazy, like it tries to go into that direction or this direction, the guy's like, all right, well, let's not do that. Let's, stick to the path. We're going straight. We're going this way to the sort of the future, but you can't really rein in an animal and then expect it to never move. So it has to go somewhere. And the left wing is very experimental, and they try all kinds of different abstract things. But if these reins are cut, which in this case demonstrates a lack of listening to to the sort of the sensible side, the sensible arguments of this thing is going to go wild. So it's going to start going into every direction. It's going to kick this guy off the back, and it's not going to listen to the master anymore, basically. And not to say that the right wing is sort of looking to be the master in any meaningful sense of the word, but they are sort of the anchoring power to all kinds of things like logic and reason, and to very established things. So now, when there's no one on the reins, which way is the horse going to go? Well, it's going to go that way, which is in a completely absurd direction, and it's going to run wildly, and it's going to basically get out of control, because the animal thinks that he is in control now, and he is, but he lacks the anchoring force, like I mentioned. So now we're going this way, and when the left starts to go crazy with all kinds of abstract things that make no sense to, I'll just say that they make no sense. When you get to this point, it doesn't make any more sense. So there's no logic in the there's no common sense or logic anymore left in the behavior of the left. Then you have this sort of shift where the balance is now over here. So everybody has to be here, or otherwise they are the enemy, which is one of the consequences of this. So now just your average normal people are considered to be completely opposite to whatever you're doing. And yeah, so things are crazy. Now, what happens is, of course, when more people start to be here in this area, because it's the simple majority, the right wing is going to win. And when the right wing wins, things are going to become very narrow in their perspective and their imagination and everything. So what will you have? You will have no change, but this isn't for the entire humanity. This curve is followed only if you allow it. So let's say in this situation, the curve gets like this, and this is your competition. So now you're fucked, basically. So you have, let's say, Elon Musk or someone. He's imaginative and he's rich, but he doesn't really drive the sort of change that you need if he gets everything that he wants. Because once you get everything that you want and you're satisfied, things are not going to progress for, let's say, everybody. It's going to progress for your business, but that's not enough. If your business gives a little bump here, you're severely lacking in this progress curve that your competition and everybody else is on. So if no one does anything, if no one listens to nobody, this is the result. The right will win because they are basically established, they are practical, and the job of the experimenter is to prove what they're doing. And if we're here, they can no longer prove anything that they're doing because it's not based on logic. Then the answer becomes the right wing. So if the right wing stops listening, the progressives are going to be climbing up this curve, and they're always going to be, the conservatives are going to be riding along. So you can't leave them behind, and sometimes they do, like, let's say the Amish will just stay right back here, but they only exist because they are a part of a larger entity that allows them to exist peacefully, and that would not happen if you would exist over here, because the Canadians might be happy with 300 million Amish, but the cartels down here, they're going to be happy about it, basically, because they will take over and evil wins, basically, if we just stick here. So the left needs to be reined in. So the right needs to ask the left to prove all the directions that it wants to go to, so that we will constantly be heading into this direction, at least mostly. So at least we're sort of squiggling into this general direction of progress and positive change. But we cannot start to get off the handle and just go wild and go into, I would say, it even goes into like the horse chops itself in half, basically, if this metaphor would keep going. But we need both. And if the left starts listening, things go crazy. If the right stops listening, they'll just, doesn't matter, because they're in for the sort of, they're in for not the free ride, but they are in for the ride. They basically feed the horse, and then the horse's job is to do what? Is to go into the direction that we all benefit from. And that is basically the simplified reason of why the situation that we're in currently is the progressive, the left's fault. And everything is always, politically, it's always the progressive's fault, because they have to be able to be smarter and than the writer, basically. They have to be at least more something than the writer. And the writer is always just tagging along. So they feed the horse, so it's all a mutually beneficial thing. But there should never be a total separation of the moving force, the imagination, and the sort of the improvement towards the movement towards improvement and competition and technology and things like that. There should never be a total separation, because then you're going to have basically this is stability, and this is the curve of when both ways of thinking stick together. And then I would say that this is the curve if the left wins completely and they stop listening completely, and they are able to do that. So people will generally want this more than they want this, but this is the most beneficial system for everybody. So I guess that sort of sums it up. Goodbye.